My wife kissed my cheek like it was routine, then whispered the sentence that destroyed my whole life. "I am leaving you, Ethan." For a second, I thought she was joking. Claire did not say things like that, not like she had been rehearsing it. But then I saw him, Victor Hale. My boss stood behind her, relaxed, confident, holding a small leather gift bag like he had come to deliver a prize. He looked perfectly comfortable in my doorway, like my home belonged to him. Victor smiled slowly, the kind that never reaches the eyes. "Do not take it personally," he said. "Some people are just born to win." Claire avoided my eyes. Her shoulders were stiff, her jaw tight. She was wearing the coat I bought her last winter, the one she said made her feel safe. That detail hit me like a punch. "What are you talking about?" I asked. "Where are you going?" Claire finally met my eyes, and I saw something new. Not anger, not hatred, emptiness. "I cannot live like this anymore," she said. "Always struggling, always waiting for your someday." Her words sounded practiced. Victor stepped closer, careful as if he wanted it to look like he was only supporting her choice, but his eyes told the truth. He enjoyed this. Claire slid off her wedding ring and placed it on the entry table. The tiny clink sounded like a gunshot in my chest. "I want stability," she whispered. I stared at the ring, then at her suitcase. Already packed. She'd decided this long before tonight. "You were leaving me? For him?" I asked. Claire hesitated, then nodded. Victor leaned close enough that only I could hear. "You are a good worker, reliable, predictable," he murmured, "but you are not a winner." Shock glued my feet to the floor. Claire rolled her suitcase past me without touching my arm, without looking back, like I was furniture she no longer needed. Victor paused at the threshold for one last bite of control. "Tomorrow, do not bother coming to the office," he said calmly. "HR will email your resignation options. We will make it clean." Then he left with my wife. The door shut. Silence flooded the house. The air smelled like Claire's shampoo and Victor's expensive cologne, and suddenly everything felt contaminated. I stood there staring at the ring, mind trying to reject reality. Then my phone buzzed, a message from an unknown number. "He used her to distract you." Another message arrived. "You are not being left behind. You are being removed." Removed? That was not heartbreak language. That was strategy. My hands shook as I typed, "Who is this?" The reply came instantly. "Someone your father trusted." My stomach dropped. My father had been gone for nearly a decade. Then the last message appeared and stole my breath. "Victor Hale owes your family millions. Tomorrow morning he plans to erase the debt forever. If he succeeds, you will lose the only leverage you will ever have." I stared at the screen until my vision blurred. This was not just betrayal, this was war. I did not sleep. I sat in the dark kitchen with the ring on the table and the feeling that my life had been quietly rewritten while I was working overtime. At 7:30 a.m. I drove to Westbridge Private Bank, hands tight on the wheel, eyes checking mirrors like Victor might already be following me. The building looked like a fortress designed to protect secrets. Inside, the air smelled like polished stone and money that never sweats. When I told the receptionist I needed the Cole Trust, her smile changed into something sharper. "Of course, Mr. Cole," she said, as if she had been waiting. A private banker named Marissa Lang met me in the hallway. "Ethan Cole?" she asked. Then she repeated it. "We have been expecting you." She led me into a windowless conference room. On the table sat a black folder with a gold seal. Michael Cole Trust. My father's name. My chest tightened. My father was a mechanic, a working man. He never owned anything that looked like this. Marissa opened the folder and spoke calmly. "This trust was created 13 years ago. It remained dormant until yesterday, when the activation condition was met." I swallowed. "What condition?" Marissa hesitated. "An attempt to remove you from the Sterling Ridge corporate system," she said. "Your father instructed us to monitor activity connected to Victor Hale. If Victor ever moved against you, authority would transfer to you." My ears rang.
Why would my father be connected to Victor? Marissa did not explain. She turned to a page and pointed. Asset, note payable, Victor Hale. Amount, $7,200,000. My mouth fell open. That is real? I whispered. Marissa nodded. Victor Hale borrowed funds from this trust, she said. He used collateral. She flipped another page. Default clause. If Victor fails to repay by the deadline, collateral transfers to the beneficiary. The deadline was today, 9 a.m. The clock on the wall read 8:36. What is the collateral? I asked. Marissa's voice stayed steady. 51% of Sterling Ridge Logistics. My heart slammed. Victor did not just owe money, he owed his company. My boss, the man who owned my life, was about to lose everything because of a debt tied to my father. Marissa slid a sealed black envelope across the table. This is also for you, she said. It contains access to a safe deposit box. Your father ordered us to release it only if Victor moved against you personally. My fingers hovered over it. Victor already contacted the bank this morning, Marissa added. My blood turned cold. Why? To refinance the note and erase the collateral, she said. He failed. Your father blocked modifications unless authorized by you. I looked at the clock. Time was bleeding away. Marissa placed a pen in my hand. If you want to enforce the default, we need your signature before 9, she said. Once you sign, the transfer happens immediately. I thought about Claire's suitcase, Victor's smile, the way they looked at me like I was defeated. I signed. At 9:02 a.m., an email arrived. Default confirmed. Ownership transfer in progress. My hands stopped shaking, not because I was calm, because I was awake.
Marissa escorted me to the vault. Box 319, she said quietly. This is your father's. The steel door opened with a sound like a prison. Inside, secrets sat in neat rows, locked away from men who feared truth. In a private room, I opened box 319. My throat tightened. Inside were 4 items: a flash drive, a thick contract file, a small key labeled toolbox, and a printed photo. I lifted the photo first and my heart stopped. Claire, standing beside Victor Hale in a hotel lobby, her hand resting lightly on his forearm like she belonged there. The date printed at the bottom was 6 months ago. 6 months. The betrayal was not sudden, it was planned. I opened the contract file, expecting more debt paperwork. Instead, I found a receipt line that made me dizzy. Claire Harrison, consulting payment, $50,000, retention incentive. My stomach turned. Claire was not stolen, she was paid. I sat down hard, the room suddenly too small. Then I plugged in the flash drive. A video file opened. My father appeared on screen, older and tired, eyes sharp like a man living under pressure. He looked straight into the camera, like he was looking into me. Ethan, he said softly, if you were watching this, Victor Hale finally exposed himself. My chest tightened. Listen carefully, my father continued. Victor is not just greedy, he is dangerous. He built Sterling Ridge using dirty money. He uses people like tools. He paused, especially women. I swallowed. My father's voice remained calm. That is why I created the debt agreement, he said. Not to get rich, to build a cage. If Victor ever tried to remove you, it meant you were close to something. And when you get close, criminals become desperate. Then he said the sentence that froze my blood. Ethan, they killed me. My lungs forgot to work. My father's voice stayed steady, like he had accepted death already. My death was not an accident, he said. It was a warning. I am sorry, son. I wanted you to live normal, but I could not leave you unprotected, so I hid everything in leverage. The video ended. I sat there, staring at my father's face on a paused screen. Then my phone buzzed. A text from Victor. Ethan, we need to talk. Do not make this ugly. Do not make me come to your house. My skin went cold. The message was not from a boss. It was from a hunter.
I took the toolbox key, the contract file, the flash drive, and the photo, and I understood something sharp and terrifying. Victor did not just want his company back, he wanted control, and men like Victor kill for control.
I did not go home. I drove to a cheap motel and paid cash. I sat on the bed staring at my father's toolbox key like it was a weapon. Claire's betrayal burned, but the truth about my father cut deeper. At 11:13 p.m., Claire called. I almost ignored it, but I needed to hear her voice. "Ethan," she whispered, "please, can we talk?" Her tone was sweet, careful, like she thought she could rewind time with softness. "What do you want?" I asked. "Victor told me you went to the bank," she said quickly. "He says you were trying to ruin him." I stayed quiet. The silence made her panic. "Ethan, I did not know about the debt," she pleaded. "I swear." I pictured the photo from the box, 6 months ago, her hand on Victor's arm. "Do not lie," I said. "You started this months ago." Claire's breath caught. "I was scared," she whispered. "Victor promised me everything. He said you would never fight back." Then I heard Victor's voice in the background. "Give me the phone." He took it. His breathing filled my ear. "Ethan," Victor said softly, "you will sign a waiver. You will transfer the shares back. You will delete whatever you think you have, or you will become another accident." The word accident hit me like a punch. "I recorded that," I said. Victor laughed. "Record it," he said. "You will not survive long enough for it to matter." The call ended. I stared at the wall. My father warned me Victor would panic and attack. I opened my laptop and started sending emails to the board, to Westbridge Bank, to a private attorney listed in the trust, and finally to one name in my father's documents, Emily Rowe, investigative journalist. I wrote one line. "I have proof Victor Hale laundered millions and murdered my father. If you want a story that ends a powerful man, call me." I hit send. Then I looked out the motel window. Across the parking lot, a car sat with headlights off. Someone inside was watching my room. Victor had moved from threats to surveillance, and I knew the next step after watching was striking. I killed the lights and watched the shadowed car. It did not move. It waited. I did not call the police. Victor owned too many people. Instead, I turned the shower on full blast, left the faucet running, and slipped out through the side exit with my bag. I drove away with my headlights off until I reached the main road. My phone rang. A woman's voice, sharp and confident. "Ethan Cole?" "Yes, this is Emily Rowe," she said. "Where are you?" Relief hit me like warm air. Not because she was a journalist, because she sounded fearless. "I am driving," I said. "Victor's people were outside my motel." "Good," she replied. "Keep moving. If your evidence is real, this is bigger than divorce. This is organized crime." She gave me an address for a parking garage and a time. "If you are late, I leave. If you bring anyone, I will know." I arrived early. Emily appeared exactly on time, dressed dark, eyes scanning like she expected danger. "Show me," she said. I handed her the flash drive and contract file. She watched my father's video, read the debt agreement, and her expression turned angry. "Your father built a trap," she said quietly, "and Victor just stepped into it." I swallowed. "Can you expose him?" "Exposure is not enough," Emily said. "Men like Victor do not fall from shame, they fall from law. We need to trigger a public collapse that forces law enforcement to act." She told me Sterling Ridge had a merger scheduled in 3 days. If it happened, Victor's protection would multiply. My blood went cold. 3 days. Claire's timing, Victor's confidence, it all fit. "Tonight you sleep somewhere safe," Emily said. "Tomorrow we cut the legs off his empire." As she walked away, my phone buzzed. A message from Claire. "I made a mistake. Victor is not who you think. Please help me." I stared at it. Then I remembered the payment receipt labeled retention incentive. Claire did not make a mistake. She made a choice, and now she was afraid of the price. The next morning, Emily introduced me to a lawyer named Daniel Mercer. older, calm, eyes like steel. He reviewed the debt agreement and nodded. "This is airtight," he said. "Ownership transfer stands. Victor's only path is intimidation and delay." Daniel laid out the plan. Freeze Victor's corporate access, notify the board officially, file financial crimes reports using the laundering evidence, and kill the merger. Emily arranged media pressure to make investors nervous. That afternoon, Daniel scheduled an emergency board meeting at Westbridge, under security, without Victor. The city was shifting, slowly, like a chessboard, but Victor was not waiting. A message arrived. "We know you met Emily Rowe. Stop, or we will stop you." Emily glanced at it and shrugged. "That means we're winning," she said. Daniel's phone rang. He listened, then looked at me. "Victor filed a police complaint," he said. "He claims you forged the agreement. He wants an emergency court order." I clenched my jaw. "He wants to make me the criminal," I said. Daniel nodded. "Corrupt men love to play victim." Emily smiled coldly. "Good," she said. "If Victor wants court, we give him court with cameras." The next day at the bank conference room, board members filed in, tense and confused. They froze when they saw me sitting at the head of the table. "Ethan," one said, "what is happening?" I answered calmly. "Victor defaulted," I said. "Now I control him." The door burst open. Victor stormed in with 2 lawyers, and Claire followed behind him like a shadow.
Claire looked pale, trapped inside the consequences she bought. Victor walked in like he owned the building, eyes locked on me. "This ends now," he said. Daniel stood. "You are trespassing," he said calmly. Victor laughed. "You think a broke employee can steal my company?" I slid the agreement across the table. "Read your signature," I said. Victor read. His face cracked. He forced a laugh. "Invalid," he snapped. The board chair spoke carefully. "Victor, we confirmed the default. Ethan controls majority shares." The air turned sharp. Victor's eyes hardened. Claire stepped forward. "Ethan, please," she whispered. "This is not what you think." I stared at her. "Do not insult me," I said. Victor turned to Claire, voice slicing. "Tell them." Claire's hands shook. Then she admitted, barely audible. "I was paid," she said. "Victor offered me $50,000 to keep Ethan distracted, to make sure he never checked the bank letters." The room froze. Emily recorded quietly. Victor's rage flashed. "You stupid—" He caught himself. Then he leaned toward me. "You think this matters?" he hissed. "I have judges. I have cops. I have this city." Daniel slid a document forward. "You also have an injunction pending," he said. "And after that confession, criminal charges pending." Emily stepped forward. "Tomorrow, your merger partners wake up to headlines," she said. Victor's face went white. He grabbed Claire's arm and dragged her out. The door slammed. Daniel looked at me. "Now we move fast," he said. "Victor will attack tonight." Outside, the sky darkened, and the city felt full of knives. Victor attacked that night. Claire sent a message. "He is going to burn everything. If he loses, nobody keeps it." Another message followed. "I found a folder in his office labeled Coal Crash. He said your father's death was planned." My blood went cold. Daniel's voice turned hard. "That folder is murder evidence," he said. Emily's eyes narrowed. "We get it," she said. "Claire is our entry point." Claire met us behind a coffee shop, shaking. "He is losing his mind," she whispered. "He said he will frame Ethan. He said he will make him disappear." Daniel promised protection if she told the truth. Claire nodded. We drove to Sterling Ridge headquarters late at night. The building was dark, except Victor's floor. Claire's access card opened the door. My heart pounded. Hallways echoed like traps. At Victor's office safe, Claire typed the code. The door popped open. She pulled out a thick folder, Coal Crash. Inside were emails, payment receipts, instructions, and a transcript. Make it look like an accident. No body for the boy to see. My throat tightened. Suddenly, hallway lights flicked on. Victor's voice echoed. "Claire, you really thought you could hide from me?" We froze. Then the office door slammed and locked. Victor laughed through it. "Desperate people run to the same place," he said, "and then they die together." We were trapped with the evidence, and Victor was outside with the keys.
Victor did not rush in. He enjoyed fear. He talked through the door like a speech. "You could have suffered quietly," he said. "Now you made it public." Daniel scanned the office, then spotted a service access panel near the bookshelf. We forced it open and slipped into a narrow maintenance corridor just as the lock clicked and Victor entered. From the shadows, we heard Victor's voice explode when he saw the safe open. "No!" he shouted. "Ethan!" He screamed threats, promised death, promised suffering. We moved fast through the corridor, down into a stairwell, then out into the night. Emily waited in a car, engine running. I held up the folder. "Everything," I said. Emily's eyes flashed. "Tonight," she said, "Victor becomes a headline." We drove to federal investigators. Daniel presented the evidence. Emily provided witness notes. Claire signed a confession. Warrants were issued by dawn. Victor's accounts frozen. Assets flagged. Merger partner notified. Sterling Ridge raided. Victor fled, but the city was no longer his playground. For the first time since Claire left, I felt control, not grief. Victor Hale was arrested at a private airstrip. Cameras caught him shouting into his phone, demanding someone fix it, like money could erase handcuffs. When agents surrounded him, he tried to threaten them. Then he tried to bargain. Then he went silent. In court, his lawyers tried to twist it. Predatory debt, unstable mistress, jealous husband. But evidence does not care about stories. Daniel played Victor's threat call. "You will become another accident." The court went quiet. Then Daniel presented coal crash, payment receipts, instructions, confessions. Victor's face drained. Bail was denied. Victor looked at me with hatred and fear. I leaned slightly forward and spoke quietly. "You said I was not a winner," I told him. "You were right." Victor blinked. "I am not a winner," I continued. "I am the consequence." Sterling Ridge's merger collapsed publicly. Investors fled. Victor's allies fell. Claire tried contacting me with tears and excuses. I never replied. Because karma is not a conversation. It is not romance. It is not closure. Karma is a choice, and then the bill. Victor paid with his company, his freedom, and his power. And I paid with my marriage, my innocence, in years I would never get back. But for the first time, my father's death was no longer a quiet lie. It was a public truth. And Victor Hale, the man who stole my wife to distract me, finally learned the one thing he never believed. Some debts do not forgive. They collect.